All right, welcome back to the Dynasty Rewind, everybody. I'm your host, Michael Bauer. The best in the business is once again back in business. Week 2 is in the books. Hopefully, it was good to you. I don't know about you guys. I'm kind of all over the place. Teams are good, some are bad, some are just right in the middle. You know, is what it is. But hopefully, week 2 was good for our viewers and listeners. I'm glad to be back with everybody. So, hey, we're all Dynasty all the time. Joining me, like always, we got Pork. How's it going, Pork?
I'm doing great. I had a little bit of a rough week for myself. Just a peek behind the curtain and lost a friend of mine. Um, those stupid kids' toys just making noise while I'm
That was
talking.
the most inappropriate.
It's,
That was terrible, man.
yeah, yeah, but I think that's just him effing with me. He's been effing with me all day, in a good way though. But yeah, I lost a friend, and it was a little rough for me, but I'm glad to be back on with the boys again on Tuesday. Get my mind off of it a little bit, and have some fun and enjoy myself.
It was good to see you, Pork. And talking about kids' toys, one night I woke up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. As I'm walking down the hallway, I have a 2-story house. All of a sudden, I just hear 2 of Cora's toys start going off downstairs. And I'm like, no, no, not here for it, man. Not here for it. So, also joining us, we got Nate Christian. How's it going, Nate?
It's going pretty well. You guys know I love football, and I know I love football, but I didn't realize that I loved football so much until today when I went to the eye doctor, and they told me I have astigmatism in both of my eyes, which means that instead of like being ball shaped, like a baseball, my eyes are like footballs.
Ah.
That's how much I love football. I modeled my eyes off of them.
So you're telling me that no matter what, when you look at a light that's far away, it always looks blurry to you, right?
Yep.
Yeah, see, I always thought there was something wrong with me. I have astigmatism just in one of my eyes, though. So I guess my love of
Wow.
football is only half of
You're
it.
so lucky to have it in one eye.
Yeah, I can't wear contacts because of it, I think they say, or the contacts are more expensive or whatever. But I don't want to put something in my eye anyway. So
Right, I couldn't do that myself.
no, thank you. I'll just wear glasses and look like a middle-aged white guy. I'm good at it. So hey, let's talk about week 2.
You
Like
sure
I
are good
said,
at it.
hopefully everybody's week 2 went well. Um, you know, I do believe I beat Nate in the Dynasty Rewind Rookie League, if I'm correct.
In the rookie league?
Yeah, our rookie
No.
league, where it's just
If you
a four.
if you pulled it out in the rookie league, that'd be pretty impressive because like my team is like
Can you check? I could have
St-
sworn
I'm-
I
Yeah,
did.
my team stinks.
I'm checking
I
right
know I
now.
lost.
All right.
I think I lost to Nate.
I beat Porkman 77-45.
So what?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I beat you somewhere.
Yes, you ended up somehow beating me in a Dynasty Best Ball League. I went into the evening, and this is actually a lot of leagues for me this week. I went into the evening looking great. I think I was like at a 75% win, like across my leagues, looking really good for this week. Great bounce back from last week. And then I realized in literally half my leagues, I was playing some mixture of Aaron Rodgers, Devonte Adams, Robert Tonyan, and Aaron Jones.
Jeez.
So by the end of the night, I'm like gone from winning 3/4 of my leagues to losing 3/4 of my leagues, and it's rough now.
So
It
for
happens
me,
that way a lot.
every league I was projected to win, I lost, and every league I was projected to lose, I won. I don't understand how it happened, but it did. It's a mixed bag. And yeah, hey, the All About the Birds Sports Network chiming in. Jay Sternberger
Hey,
got released,
here.
waived. So hey, listen, you know what? I'm
Freaking
still holding
stinks.
on. I'm holding on to hope, man.
Drop
He's gonna-
Mike. Just give up,
No,
bro. He's
no, I don't.
cooked.
I don't give up. Look, he's gonna catch on somewhere. He's gonna be a stud. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. He's gonna be a stud. Somebody gets hurt, Jason's gonna just slide right in there. He's gonna be fine. He can finish like
Well,
10
Jay
and 5.
Sternberger is going
Right
to be at
behind
Burger
the
King making burgers. He's cooked. Literally.
That's fine. Hey, you know who else is cooked? Are the San Francisco running backs cursed? Jermichael
That's
Hasty got banged up. And we got who else? Trey Sermon got concussed on his only carry of the day. Man, I'll tell you what. Elijah Mitchell looking like a good waiver wire pickup. Now, hear me out. He didn't give you a lot. I actually think this Eagles defense might be a little bit better than what I expected it to be. They've looked really well, really good the first 2 weeks. But Elijah Mitchell gave me like 6-7 points off a waiver wire plug-in, which isn't too bad yet. Mike McCaffrey saying, Mike, sorry to hand you that L in the Hometown Zeros League. Aaron Jones MVP, yes. Thank you for that nice ass whooping. And Bob Gilchrist chiming in. Mike is a stud. I think you might be talking about one of the other guys in the show here. But thanks, Bob. I appreciate you, and thanks for checking in. So, yeah, are these San Francisco running backs hurt? I mean, Bob put this on the show sheet. Mostert's always hurt, though. Like,
He is.
He really is.
It's not surprise. That's what you're saying.
That was no surprise. I think Hasty's got an ankle thing. I don't know what his status is next
He
week.
has a high ankle sprain, and they said he might not play. So
Okay.
it looks like Elijah Mitchell, and then they called up some guy got somebody off the practice squad, Jock somebody. I can't think of his name.
Cannon's
Patrick
there.
Jock.
They got Cannon there, who they picked up when the Ravens released him.
I think the guy Patrick Jock was from XFL.
Hey, so
So
fire
we got
up
XFL to
Elijah Mitchell
NFL.
again this week. He got most of the carries last week. Didn't do a lot with it. Didn't really have a lot of room to run. Good defensive game if you're into that sort of thing.
If Elijah Mitchell plays.
I think
Right, because he's injured too.
Yeah, he came back into the game though after he got hurt. That looked like a shoulder thing.
Yeah, right shoulder.
Is Antonio Gibson ever going to be what people want him to be? He was heralded as the next CMC, but J.D. McKissick has been saying, "Pump the brakes."
No.
I don't think the expectations of being the next CMC were ever realistic. If we want to talk about the next CMC, I mean, it could if you're going to pick somebody from that draft class, then the only person who could be the next CMC is probably DeAndre Swift because he's going to get a ton of checkdowns. The only problem is he's got Jamal Williams cock blocking him right now.
Right.
But Antonio Gibson, McKissick didn't leave. So I don't know why people expected McKissick just to fade into nothing. He's still there. They're still going to use him. I like Gibson still. I know it had a rough week. Not their best start, but, Clyde didn't have the best start. There's a couple running backs that haven't had the best start. I'm not giving up on them after 2 weeks. Not yet.
That's actually the next topic here. What's up with Clyde Edwards-Helaire? What do we expect going forward? And Pork will come back to you and talk about your nemesis, Antonio Gibson.
That's all good.
I don't know what's going on with Clyde. They spend a first-round pick on him. They obviously value him,
Right.
but they're not using him. It's not like the Andy Reid of old who, he had a running back who would, do really well like Sproles or Westbrook. Why do you need a running back when you got Mahomes with Kelsey and Hill? Now, I don't know what the plan is. I don't know why they got him number one. Is it just like a luxury pick in the first round? I don't know why, because they're not using him. And if they're not going to use him, if they're not going to give him checkdowns, then he's not going to be super relevant in fantasy, unfortunately. Like I said, I'm not giving up on him yet, but I actually put Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the trade block in one of my leagues because I'm now going to entertain offers for him. I unfortunately didn't have any Clyde Edwards last year when all the hype was around. I ended up acquiring him halfway through the year this offseason when the value was there. So I feel bad for the people that got him really early in startup drafts and rookie drafts and now have to deal with the loss in value. But I still think, obviously at the opportunity cost for those people, this sucks. But, where I got him this offseason as a running back too, I'm still comfortable with him as my running back too. He's just not that stud top 5 running back right now with how they use him. And he might never be, and that's okay.
I mean,
Right, because he was totally overvalued.
He also might not spend his entire career with Kansas City, too. And there's
Right.
a chance he goes somewhere else on a second contract and smashes. Pork, you want to add anything to both, what's his name, Gibson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
I'll go back to Edwards-Helaire because I think people forget, too, that he was nursing a high ankle sprain, which is not really easy to come back from, obviously. That's one of those injuries that we worry about as fantasy owners, that and soft tissue stuff. So with him, he's kind of slowly working his way back into the scheme. But when you think about it, this guy is still young too. So I don't want to totally give up on a back that they put first round capital in that they're going to use. Because who's behind them? Jerick McKinnon and Darrell Williams. I'm still taking CEH over the both of them all day, every day. So when it comes down to that, I'm still, putting my stocks into CEH. Now with Gibson, I don't want to, harp on this whole Gibson BS that I got, lambasted on Twitter last year. But this is part of what I was saying.
Have you
Yeah.
checked his touches?
You hear that? That greasy sizzle of the bacon?
I can't hear it.
Oh, really? Could you hear it, Nate?
Yeah, it's very light. It just sounded like
Very-
someone's
yeah.
mic was buzzing.
Okay, well, it was bacon sizzle. You're welcome.
But I mean, I did check his touches, and he is. I do agree that he is a good back, but he's not that type of CMC runner. CMC is way more, in my opinion, way more explosive than he is. Lateral quickness, and he has better hands, and he's better out of the backfield. And I think maybe Ron Rivera is saying that, and having J.D. McKissick come out on third down because you can trust him to catch the ball, trust him for protection and stuff like that. So again, and also I think he's also nursing a turf toe, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think he's 100% as well. So again, that's another guy. It's his second year. He's young. Give him some time. Don't give up. But if he's not producing by next year, it might be a little bit of a red flag to not having him on third downs.
Yeah, and I will say one thing with Gibson is he probably is going to be a good buy at the moment if people are this down on him.
Mm-hmm.
Because Heineke's in, they have a good defense. I think the style of play for the next couple of weeks is going to be a bit more run heavy. I think the defense steps it back up, keeps the games a bit more low scoring. They just somehow always get demolished by Daniel Jones. And if they're going to be relying more on the run game,
How did that work?
Gibson's going to get his.
Right. And Heineke is a quarterback at this point who looks like he's looking to push the ball down the field and not to check down. Like he's showing that he has confidence to throw the ball to McLaurin and throw the ball to Logan Thomas down the field and not check down and show that he can be like they should have saved their money and went with him instead of Fitzpatrick. So I mean, I'm really curious of how to see how they look this week after another week of more film on Heineke and see how defenses play him and see if he reverts back to checking down.
Here are my thoughts on Antonio Gibson.
Takes every single inch of it. Wow.
You know how long it took me to make that sound drop? I had to
Hey Nate, that was you, bro.
Every single inch of it.
I had to load the file into Audacity. I had to scroll through to when you were talking about that guy, zoom in, but it was worth it. It was worth it. Now that it's saved, that is right the middle button so I can find it too.
One more time. Takes every single inch of it.
Oh man. Oh Nate. No, we really gotta watch what we say now.
Yeah, I'm learning how to make sound drops, man, and I can let's see, I can have up to 36 different sound drops on here, so be careful. So Sean is loving it, our intern Sean. Make sure you follow Sean on Twitter at Rewind Intern. He doesn't really tweet a ton, but I'll tell you what, Sean's just a great guy to follow, just a great guy to have in your life overall. Love you, Sean. Thank you for everything you do. We're going to go through some quarterback injuries here. Just going to go through it real quick. No need to really touch on it. I'm going to tell you who it is, their injury, and who their backup is in case you want to pick them up. Carson Wentz, both of his ankles, somehow. His backup is Jacob Eason. Fire up Eason season. Tua's got a rib injury. I don't know if he's going to play or not. His backup is Jacoby Brissett. Tyrod Taylor is out Thursday, and that means Davis Mills is going to get his first career start. Andy Dalton has a knee injury. Questionable, so we all know about Justin Fields. The only one that I do not have on here, Baker Mayfield did dislocate his non-throwing shoulder. His backup is Case Keenum. I believe he did, right? I saw he was...
It just doesn't sound nice.
Yeah.
He came back in though.
He did.
That's going to be a pain tolerance thing. So, something to monitor. If you're in a super flex league and these guys are on the wire, these backups, hey, pick them up. You never know. If they start a couple games and you have another injury, got somebody in there, you don't have to scramble. Also, reported today, Ben Roethlisberger has a pectoral injury. So monitor that as well. I actually don't know who their primary backup is. Would it be Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins?
Be Haskins, I think.
Would it be
I
Haskins?
think Haskins won the job.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Haskins is the quarterback.
I have
too
to
there.
check. I have to check the inactives and see who was active these past 2 weeks. But if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Haskins. Played better than him in the preseason. Sliced up our defense, Mike.
Yep.
Yeah, sliced up our vanilla preseason defense again. Guys that aren't even on the team anymore.
No.
We need to put out a missing persons report. Has anyone seen George Kittle on the season? 8 catches for 95 yards and no touchdowns. Now, the Philadelphia game, he was blocking a lot and he was blocking like a stud. I mean, he looked good.
Mhm.
But this is not what we expected from George Kittle through 2 games. This looks like his stat line through 3/4 of 1 game, to be honest with you.
Facts.
So I think we could say, yeah, we haven't seen him yet. Is anyone here concerned? I'm not.
Don't
No.
No concerns
Not
there.
at all.
And in the Mile High City, Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon are splitting reps again. So Javonte, 13 carries, 64 yards, no touchdowns, 1 catch, 10 yards, no touchdowns. And Melvin Gordon, 13 for 31 on the ground, 2 for 38 through the air, no touchdowns for both. So this is something to really monitor going ahead. I mean, you look, same amount of carries, Javonte Williams doubled the yardage. So
Yeah.
super important. You know,
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
said that it was going to be Javonte Williams sooner rather than later. I didn't want to believe it, but it looks like
I think so.
it could be happening. Yeah.
If you take
It
out
is.
the 80-yard run, and hey, if you can make an 80-yard run happen, that's impressive.
Our defense
But
is
if you
tired.
take that out, Melvin Gordon has not
Hell
done
yeah.
really anything, and Javonte is splitting 50-50 with him through 2 games. It's only a matter of 1 or 2 more weeks before it becomes more like a 60-40 split. A couple more weeks, a 75-25 split.
Mhm.
Maybe not even that. I don't think they're going to demote Gordon to a 25% snap share while he's on the team. I think he'll still get 30%, maybe even 40% through the whole season. But Javonte is going to be more efficient, and if he becomes like the goal line back there, as well as getting the higher snap share, it's going to be a very solid running back. Takes every
I
single
think-
piece of it.
He's so good.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon freaking stinks. I mean, at this point in his career, I don't want any parts. And I think Javonte Williams by the end of the year is going to be taking about 75 to 80% of the snaps. I know they paid him, but when it's time, when it gets time for you to win some games and you need yards and you can get, you have more talent than Williams and Gordon, they're not going to use him as much, especially if you see it now, 13 for 65. When you said Gordon had 13 for 31, and ain't it. And then in week 1, that was a lucky touchdown. Defense was worn down, and Melvin Gordon still looks slow on that 80-yard run. So I think it's Javonte Williams season about week 4 or 5.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
That's what I'm here for.
Do you like DFS?
Yeah.
I do.
Oh, look at that. Here, you know what? Let's do this. There we go. Do you like DFS? Do you wish you could redraft each week within the season? Added some chill music there. If so, it's time to check out Underdog Fantasy. While the best ball platform season-long drafts are closed, there's still weekly drafts and pick'ems each week. Support the Dynasty Rewind team and join us on Underdog Fantasy by using promo code REWIND, all caps REWIND, when you make your first deposit, and you will get a $10 bonus added onto your deposit. The link is in the description. We'll see you there. And we're back. And I used the graphic that Sean made too. So Nate's going to be back in just a minute. So Phil, we're going to start on some buys and sells. Are we buying the Cardinals team as a real contender? Kyler is an early MVP candidate. You
Yeah.
buying that?
I'm
Yeah.
buying all of it. I mean, we did see like parts of Kyler last year become a little bit inconsistent. But again, this is another year of him in the offense. They gave him more viable options. AJ Green's a little bit older. I know week 1 didn't do too well.
Good possession.
Last week looked great.
Here's
Scored
the
a
thing, though.
touchdown, everything.
AJ Green is going to have a bigger impact on a real NFL team than on a fantasy team, coming in,
Right.
helping the young receivers prepare, being that veteran presence on the field. And obviously he had that with DeAndre Hopkins, but it's always
Right.
good to have more of that too. So he's one of those guys. That's what he helps with. And you know what? Listen, it helped the Eagles get Keyshawn Johnson onto the practice squad, which I'm pretty excited about that they got him. But go on.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he helps guys like Christian Kirk, and he definitely helps guys like Rondell Moore. You saw how he just broke out this week. Looked really, really good, 117 yards. But I think this is a perfect example of looking at the combine and people saying, "Oh, he's short. You shouldn't draft him. He's a second-round pick." But right now, he looks like a first-round rookie pick In college, you know, he was the type of guy that was producing off a yak and not, you know, just doing all these 50-50 balls. But he's super duper explosive. So I want all of that. James Conner, he just looks really slow for fantasy. I don't want any parts from that. But Chase Edmonds is good out of the backfield, so it gives you PP. That's good. Good for you in PPR. But you know, the common denominator here, like you said, is Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray looks like he's the guy that's going to be an MVP candidate if he's able to progress and have a full complete season, not like a good half season, and then the second half he gets slowed down.
I will say this: if any of these running backs miss time, definitely want to think about Jonathan Ward.
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin, I don't think he's even gotten a carry or a touch this year.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Over Enos. So buying or selling Mike Williams, I'm holding Mike Williams, trying to get him if I can. I'm getting a ton of targets. Because Sean was asking this in our group DM before, and it's like, you know, should I buy him? Should I sell him? He's one of those guys to me, like, remember when everyone was like, what do I do with Julio? Put him in your lineup. I feel like that's the problem. And Seth, I see what you're saying. Keyshawn Johnson. I'm talking about a different Keyshawn Johnson. K-E-E Sean Johnson, not K-E-Y. I feel like the problem with Dynasty Fantasy Football, and especially the people that play it, is everyone feels like they constantly have to be making a move as far as obtaining a player, moving a player. Sometimes the best thing to do is just put him in your lineup.
Right.
And take what he gives you, because everybody wants to cash in, but a lot of times they cash in way too early. So if Mike Williams is a major hold for me, I'm buying it. If they're giving him all these targets through 2 games, then absolutely.
Right. And this is his contract year. So, and it also helped that it was Joe Lombardi. I keep calling him Mike Lombardi. Joe Lombardi is the offensive coordinator there, who also, hey wife, how you doing?
Hey wife, this guy.
Yeah, Mike Williams. This is contract year, and he's producing. And with Lombardi there, they say they're going to use him like Michael Thomas, and lo and behold, they're using him like Michael Thomas, and I'm totally loving it. So I'm holding him. If I can buy him, it's going to be tough, but I'm not sure if I can because the price might be a little bit too high. That's why I kind of got him in the off season when that chatter was talking about him being used as Michael Thomas. So give me all those shares if you can, but if it's too high, don't press too hard.
All right, Nate, you had to step away for a minute. So Pork took these first 2. I'm going to give you the next 2 here.
All right.
Buying or selling KJ Osborne currently, the Minnesota Vikings. He's got 15 targets, 12 receptions on those 15 targets, and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, I'm selling KJ Osborne. It's just, I mean, I think most people probably would. I don't know too many people that be buying. It's just doesn't make sense on a Vikings offense that I'm not confident in there being a ton of volume for a wide receiver 3 on that team. And Justin Jefferson's kind of had a slow start to the year. So I'm expecting him to kind of step it back up. You know, and that's going to, if Justin Jefferson is going at a high gear, Osborne's going to be pretty much irrelevant. He's just been stepping up as Jefferson's been trying to, I guess he's been getting back from his AC sprain or something, just kind of getting back into the swing of things. I know he caught a touchdown last week, but through 2 weeks, it's not been the Justin Jefferson of the end of last season, which that's pretty high expectations to have for a sophomore. But I don't think Osborne's going to be sticking around very long. I mean, if he does, it'd be a wonderful surprise. But hey, if you can get honestly, if I get a third round pick for him, I'd take it. But I don't think I have him anywhere. So
if somebody offered you Jarvis Landry for a 4th round pick and $5 fab, would you take it?
Yeah.
All right, great. What are your thoughts, Nate?
Yeah.
Don't breeze past this, Mike. He sent that to me, Nate, today.
He offered you Jarvis Landry?
He offered me Jarvis Landry. I had to give him a 2023 4th and $5 fab.
Yep. And what did you do?
I smashed it.
Jarvis Landry ain't helping that team. They're not helping my team. I got news.
Yeah,
for
your team freaking stinks.
bad. I scored.
Still won't give me a running back, but we're talking
You
about
could have at least asked for a third, Mike.
You didn't do a third, cheapo.
You didn't send me that yet.
I did send you a third, and you lose too much. Are you buying or selling Derek Carr and the Las Vegas offense?
I'm buying it.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not confident in that defense. I know they got some pass rush the past 2 weeks. It looked pretty good, actually. But I'm not confident in them being able to keep that defense up. Not super high on Jacobs with his injury coming off that whenever he does. I don't think Kenyon Drake or Peyton Barber are a high efficient part of that offense. So it's going to be Derek Carr. It's going to be a Darren Waller. And teams are locking on a Darren Waller, so it's going to be Brian Edwards. It's going to be Henry Ruggs. I'm liking it. I'm not sure if I'd want to put any of those two wide receivers in my starting lineup. Maybe as a flex right now, but I want to see it a bit more before I put them in my flex. But, hey, I like what Derek Carr is doing right now. He's got, by far, the league in passing yards so far this year. So I know it's only been 2 games. It's small sample size, but I mean, I think he's averaging like 415 yards a game.
Yeah.
Which, man, especially when you look at like his weapons, I mean, there's guys doing a lot less with a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Quick answer for this one. Does Tony Pollard have a legitimate role going forward?
God, I hate the Tony Pollard stuff.
I hate
know
it too.
I'd answer because Bob put it on the show sheet.
I don't know, but he shouldn't. It should be Zeke. People are going to be like, oh, it shouldn't be Zeke, though, because he's old, and Pollard's really good. Pollard is decent. If he was a lead back somewhere, you would be disappointed. You're only excited because he's a backup, but you give him the lead, I wouldn't be that excited about it. Zeke, it's going to happen for Zeke. I'm not done with Zeke yet. If you're done with Zeke, that's great for you, but I'm not done on Zeke. I'm on Zeke for another 2 years.
Before we move forward, I also want to say, speaking of backup running backs that everyone always has high hope for, Dalvin Cook, I believe, has an ankle injury. It's questionable right now, so Alexander Madison's going to be the guy. But Alexander Madison's always the guy that when he's supposed to be the guy, he massively underwhelms.
Pissed me up last year.
Pork, your quick thoughts on Tony Pollard, legitimate role going forward?
I think it is. You have to kind of take it seriously.
You do.
Zeke did have a good week last week. I think he had like 80-something yards, 90-something yards, which is a good week. But Tony Pollard had 100 yards on less carries and looks more explosive at this point than Zeke is. I still do like Zeke a lot. I just feel like they're not using him like how we draft him in first rounds of drafts, and that's a little bit scary. So if they feel like they need to use him more in space, I feel like it might be like maybe a 60-40 or 55-45 at this point. So I think it's a legitimate thing. You might be able to flex him. So we've got to see how they put him out there in this third week and go from there.
Nate, I want you to touch on this one, especially Hollywood Brown, buying or selling. 16 targets, 12 catches, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns. Is this the year Lamar looks good, like always, handing Patrick Mahomes his first September loss in his career, which is pretty impressive. What are your thoughts on that one, Nate?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's hard to say no. I like what Marquise Brown's doing right now. He's looking great. He looks like the number 1 target for Lamar Jackson. And maybe it's because we finally have somebody else that can play wide receiver, Sammy Watkins. He is looking good. He's healthy. He is consistent out there right now through 2 games. He is a safety blanket really for Lamar. There's a trust. There's a connection there. And teams have to cover Sammy. They have to cover Mark Andrews, who's been blanketed the past 2 games. Let's leave Marquise Brown open. And the thing about Marquise Brown, I think what really gives him the high upside, is when Lamar is outside the pocket, he's looking for Marquise. Because once it's the scramble drill, Marquise Brown's getting open. He's got the speed, he's quick, and he's small. I mean, he's finding open space. It's whether it's coming across or going deep, and Lamar's got the arm to throw it deep. So whenever Lamar's outside the pocket and looking down the field, I mean, majority of the time he's looking for Marquise Brown. You only need one or two of those a game to, have an incredible week. So I'm still excited for Marquise Brown. Like Sean said, though, when Bateman comes back into the picture, it changes everything. Now, coming off the injury, rookie year, I don't think Bateman comes back right away and goes crazy. But second half of the year, I don't see why Bateman, can't be a pretty solid flex in that offense, especially with how they're throwing now. But with the volume of that offense, can't feed everybody. So we'll see what the pecking order comes down to once everybody's healthy.
All right. Let's talk a few. I just want to remind everybody on our Patreon, Jaywick's doing a bi-weekly stock up, stock down report. And, Bob's always got an IDP rookie report as well. And make sure you check out our YouTube channel. Something going up every single day. Bob's absolutely killing it over there on our YouTube channel. Let's take a minute and let's talk some trade talks, trade targets, players to target. Or do we want to do listener questions? Let's do listener questions. How's that?
Okay.
No
problem.
I love it, answering questions.
All right. And this one... let's see. This one is from Darren Fitzpatrick. Who are the players you're most concerned about after 2 weeks?
So
was that the one with the list on it? Because I think it was one of them had like Brandon Ayuk, which
Those
would
were
be
just
number one on my list.
Those were just examples,
Well, I think it would probably be Brandon Ayuk for me. Like if it was part of those examples, he had one target, one catch last week. It was a nice catch, but he's still in the doghouse. Debo's eating. I believe he's leading the league in receiving yards. And he looked really good last week again. So, yeah, Ayuk is a big question mark for me. That's a bad doghouse to be in.
Yeah, for sure. For me, it's Adam Troutman. Big time. Not seeing it. I am concerned. How about yourself, Nate?
I'm unfortunately really concerned about James Robinson. I picked a ton of him up. I had him in a bunch of leagues last year off the waiver. I acquired him in a bunch of leagues in the offseason once he got cheap after the ETN draft pick. And I was so excited in so many leagues to have James Robinson as one of my RB 3s or 4s. And that's what he's playing as right now. And I don't think it's really his fault. I think Urban Meyer doesn't know what he's doing. There's a lot of Carlos Hyde out there.
Yeah.
The team...
It's so true.
Team can't score points. I mean, they've run 3 plays in the red zone all year. I mean, it's 2 games. But still, three plays in the red zone through 2 games. That is not good. And without those opportunities, and James Robinson isn't getting the receptions, he's not getting the carries, I really hope it doesn't last, but I am certainly concerned about what I have invested in James Robinson.
All right. And Sean wants to know, who are we buying low on, even though they haven't had the best start to 2021?
Yeah, I'm going to use a guy that you actually used as an example for that last question, Robert Woods.
Okay.
I know he's being overshadowed by Cooper Kupp, but he had a touchdown first week. He, I think he had 6 receptions or something for 60-something yards last week. A solid week. Nothing special. But I saw a tweet today that Robert Woods, who has underperformed so far this year to a lot of people, would still be a top 24 running back if you just took the fantasy points. Just shows that, outside of the top running backs, wide receivers, man, they're the ones who score points. And if you can grab Robert Woods for cheap and put him in your flex, that's a winning formula right there. Because it's only going to get better. I mean, people are going to lock on Cooper Kupp. He's not going to go off for 300-something yards through 2 games. And Robert Woods is going to have his games. He's going to have a couple games where, he has 2 receiving yards and a rushing touchdown, and 100 yards on 10 receptions. He'll have some big games like that. And even when he doesn't, he still ends up with 10, 12 points, which when you're talking about a flex, that is an incredible floor. And
Right.
you can probably get Robert Woods as your flex in a lot of leagues right now. You know, he's a little bit on the older side. He hasn't had the stellar start to the season that some people were hoping he would have with Matthew Stafford. I'm out there trying to get Robert Woods right now if I'm a contender.
Okay. Pork.
I'm gonna go back to what we talked about earlier. I'm gonna still buy low on CEH. I know he didn't look too good so far, but again, he is nursing that injury, and he is in that high-powered offense. And believe it or not, they do run the ball a lot. So once it comes to that time where comes playoff time, gets cold outside, you're not going to be throwing the ball that much. So they're still going to have to run. He's going to be 100%. I think he's still going to produce, not like how Kareem Hunt did, because that was just otherworldly the way he came out. But CH to me is an ultimate buy low for second half of the season.
Yeah. So for me, even though I am concerned, I'm going to go back to Adam Troutman. The second season, tight ends take a little bit longer. Hey, I could still be
Wolves
concerned.
tight ends.
Yeah, I do. I'm holding out hope. We don't know if the quarterback of the Saints' future is on the roster right now. We don't know if it's Jameis next year. We don't know if it's Taysom Hill. We don't know if it's Ian Book or somebody that's in college right now. We don't. But that's the thing. We don't know. So I don't want to give up right now with half-assed information. Honestly,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna still acquire him. You know what I mean? And I'm going to be.
Are you worried about Juwan Johnson, my boy?
And, here's the thing: Jameis Winston always found a way. Like with OJ Howard, there he was throwing it to Cameron Brate. That's just always what Jameis Winston does. But again, so if we could find a way, if I see Adam get a little bit more involved, we go from there. So that was a great question from Sean. So some of these, there's no names here. So I don't know if it's something that Bob just plugged in here. What do I do with Ronald Jones? You don't.
Oh my god! I don't even want to talk about it. I actually might write about it.
I just haven't touched any Bruce Arians running backs. It's not worth the time.
There's irritating.
A couple spots I've plugged Leonard Fournette in as somebody's hurt, and I threw him in a flex, and like he gets a touchdown, and you're happy about it.
Right. It's just, I think it's more of me being irritated that Leonard Fournette doesn't look good either. And and they have like the same yards per carry, but Bruce Arians continues to throw out old Fournette, who so Ronald Jones fumbles the first fumbles in that game. And then they put Fournette in, he drops the pass and turns to an interception. Why is Ronald Jones' fumble worse than Leonard Fournette's interception? That's the thing that pisses me off. So I think at this point, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't want to drop him because I feel like though Ronald Jones is a better back than Leonard Fournette at this point in his career. So I feel like you should just, hold him for, a couple more weeks. If you still see that pattern is still going towards Fournette, then you just have to cut bait.
Pick up Giovanni Bernard, I guess, is what I could tell you. How are you guys doing in the Scott Fish Bowl? I'm 0-2. Thanks for asking.
I think I'm 1-1. I hate. I'm not the biggest fan of NFL, so I didn't check week 1.
It's hard.
Week 2, I think I won.
It says results, and it just lists results for the entire Scott Fish Bowl, and I'm like,
yeah, that's what messed me up. I was like, whatever. But I figured it out.
How about you?
I'm 0-2. I did bad last year. I'm not doing well this year. Someone's got to lose the games, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the last question here, and no reasoning because we already talked about them. Just a response. Damian Harris or Clyde Edwards-Helaire rest of the season? Nate.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Phil.
Damian Harris.
Give me Damian Harris as well. All right. Hey, let's move on. Nate, I believe, got a Devy player for us this week. Look at that.
I love that.
That's the Maryland Terrapins fight song as well.
Thank you.
Downloaded that one just for you.
Thank you for that.
I could let it play while you just have it low. Should I do that or no?
And this week, the wide receiver. If I had to ask you guys to build the prototypical wide receiver that you want in the NFL, how tall would you make him?
I would make him Treylon Burks' height and stature.
So 6'4"?
Yeah, 6'4", 6'5".
Okay. All right. So What if I told you I had a guy who was 6'4", over 200 pounds, and ran a 4.4?
I
Sounds
would
legit.
say,
And it's not Treylon Burks.
is it like one of DK Metcalf's relatives?
He's not quite that built like DK Metcalf. He's a little bit lankier at the moment. But Quentin Johnston out of TCU. So write that name down. He's a 2023 NFL draft prospect, so he's got another year in college after this one. So coming to TCU out of high school, he was the second highest rated recruit in the past 20 years at TCU. So top guy for his college. Number 13 wide receiver in his high school draft class, coming out of Texas, and had offers from Texas, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Baylor. Said, no, I'm going to go to TCU. I don't know why I picked TCU, but hey, he's looking pretty good. Last year as a freshman, a true freshman, he had 22 receptions for 487 yards. That is a 22.1 yards per catch average, which is the highest by a true freshman in Big 12 history. So this guy's a big play waiting to happen. Now, this year, they're starting to use him a bit more as the number one weapon for their offense. Right now, through 2 games, he got 9 receptions for 133 yards. That's about a 15 yards per catch average. And he's already matched his receiving touchdowns from last year with 2. He's a guy that has all the physical tools that we want. Physically, I want to see him get a bit thicker. You know, he's 6'4", and he's only 201 pounds. So he's a lanky guy. But he's out here. He can make some contested catches with his size. I mean, he had a catch last year, man. It looked like Randy Moss out there. But with the 4.4 speed, he's got the yak ability too. So this year, his yards per catch is a little bit lower. They're just trying to give him the ball because he's one of the top playmakers on their team next to Zach Evans, their running back. And they're getting him the ball. He's making things happen through 2 games. He's about to play SMU. This week, TCU plays SMU at noon on Fox Sports 1. And it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. We're going to get to see Quentin Johnston make some plays because TCU's going to have to score some points. And Max Duggins looked better this year than he did last year. They got Quentin Johnston out on the wide out sideline, making plays down the field, giving him screens now too. He's a part of that offense that's important. And we also got Zach Evans. I'm just going to throw him in there as an extra little prospect of the week since he's on TCU. He is running back for TCU. Coming out of high school, he was one of the top recruits. I'm trying to remember if he was actually the top recruit as a running back for his draft class. I'm looking that up right now, but he is uber talented. He was the number 2 running back in his high school class. Number 1 guy out of Texas. 5'11", 200 pounds, got speed for days, quickness. Man, this guy is a playmaker waiting to happen. Got into TCU late last year because of he transferred a couple times, just kind of enrolled late, so he didn't get to go to all the spring practices before his freshman year. So didn't do too much this year, but so far this year, he's looking pretty good. So definitely be looking out for the TCU offense. They got 2 guys who I'm excited about watching, and I think both of them have NFL potential. Zach Evans through 2 games, 27 attempts for 217 yards. That is a 8 yards per carry average with 2 touchdowns. Last year, he had 54 attempts, averaged 7.7 yards per carry. So this guy is a big play, waiting to happen. Had a 51-yard touchdown run last week. Zach Evans, Quentin Johnston, TCU. Forget about Jalen Reagor. Moving on.
All right. So, hey, that's some Devy talk with our very own Nate Christian. Tuning out to the Maryland Terrapins fight song. Nate, I will be seeing you in that stadium in November, my friend. That's going to
November 6th.
November 6th, we're going to be watching Maryland get clapped by the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Oof.
Do you know what the worst part of that Penn State game was for me last week?
That they punted on 3rd down?
Well, that was the referee's fault.
Officials' fault. Freaking idiots.
Having to watch Bo Nix play an entire game of football was just not fun for me.
How about getting to watch those Auburn running backs?
Yeah.
I don't know how much they actually did. I don't remember too much, to be honest with you.
Nasty.
I just remember thinking to myself, man, if Penn State had a quarterback, we could really compete in the Big Ten here. hate Sean Clifford.
Yeah, you really need to upgrade there. I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys, but that's not really working for you.
They have a guy coming in. I heard about it on the Elite Seekers podcast. Can't remember his name off the top of my head. But he's a 5-star recruit. And I don't remember the last time Penn State ever had a 5-star quarterback recruit. So
I think y'all have a really good recruiting class coming up. So, which is
they
really,
do.
really
And,
good.
the problem is, too, they were going to be leaning on Journey Brown a lot this year. Obviously, he had to retire for medical reasons. So Noah Kane wasn't really supposed to be the guy carrying the load. He's doing okay. I don't think he's gonna he might be like a practice squad undrafted guy. He's not gonna have any fantasy relevance. Might have a job in the NFL for a couple years. Maybe get a spot start. That's about it.
I think that's very optimistic, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, best case scenario.
I mean, Noah Kane just pulled his stats up from the Auburn game.
Like 45 yards, something like
45 yards on 19 carries. That's 2.4 yards per carry. So far through the year, he's got a 3.4 yards per carry. I don't think Noah Kane's even going to make a practice squad.
He doesn't have a lot of wiggle. He's not really a hard runner through the hole. Like if he was a guy that was playing at a lesser school, he'd probably look a lot better against lesser competition. Like a deep school or something like that. He'd look great. He'd look like Benny LeMay.
But you got Mike. You still have to talk about the linebacker. I know that's like an IDP thing for I think 2023, 24. But I can't think of that guy's name that you like a lot.
Jesse. What is? Hold on a second. I have it brought up on my phone because I asked Bob to look at Jesse Lucchetta. He wears number 40 for Penn State. This dude's all over the field. Penn State linebacker. I like him a lot. Bob's probably just gonna go meh. He's okay. Meh. Yeah. He's not.
Don't talk about my boy Bob, yo. He just tells how he thinks AJ Dillon is good. So I mean,
this is true. He does think AJ Dillon is good. So we love you, Bob. That's going to be all that we have for tonight, though. Cutting it, like we said, we want to keep it around 45 minutes or so. The show we're at 47, 12, 13. So that's going to be it. So Nate, where can we find you on Twitter until next time?
Yeah, you can find me at Nate NFL, putting some stuff out. I'm excited for the rest of this NFL season, but I'm already getting excited for next year's NFL draft.
And Pork, how about yourself?
You find me at FF Porkman. Like Nate is, I'm excited. And just a quick reminder, if you have a friend you worried about him, just give him a quick phone call. Just check up on him, see how he's doing. I know Chef's not here. He usually gives the verse, but he's busy at work today. So just my thought for today, if you have a friend, check up on him. I always text Mike or I text in the group, good morning, love all you guys. Just you never know, those words might help somebody out throughout the day.
All right, Porkman being a great man, like always. Porkman, the great man. We'll start calling him that. And you can follow him at FF Porkman. You can find me on Twitter if you are so inclined at Rewind CEO. I would much rather you follow the show at Dynasty Rewind. Please check out our YouTube. Please check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Dynasty Rewind. We have a lot of fleek things happening over there. You will not regret it. Man, $5 a month. That's a Starbucks coffee, and you don't need that junk anyway. We're going to help you dominate your leagues. Until next time, everybody, be kind. Please rewind. Thank you for watching.